Dia, and it is the 20th of April. The 20th of April, 2024. And I am on here because I was just banned. My lives were banned from TikTok for 7 days as I was explaining this whole planetary Ponzi scheme that now people want to call it, but it's really a solar Ponzi scheme. And it's been what we've been involved with and battling with since 2017, and changing the timelines and all of that, and explaining how social media and how all of it works in a psyop program. And I had said a few different key things, and had been hit with a couple of violations for hate speech, although it was just using the word Russian, and these different little things. And then they finally froze up the feed. Now, here's what's interesting. Now, I had just explained this with the vaccines. I had just explained how everybody that has taken the vaccines, because of universal law, has basically set up some lower gates that give the world a little bit more time, but that still has to be cleared through hurdles, if you will. And I had just explained that the vaccines and weren't those were given out to the masses in order to attempt to control the unvaccinated, not the other way around. If you took a vaccine, or if anybody around you took a vaccine, or if you took a vaccine and you're watching this, you did it to assist us, because we had to clear through the vaccine. We would have never made it this far if not. But to all the rest of everybody that took vaccines, it was ordered to control those of us who didn't. I'm saying and reminding that I said that because I'd been on the live stream. I had over 40 on it, which is the most that I've ever had on TikTok, on a live. And we work in energy groups. And so a lot of my crew members that I'm currently speaking to, because there's only really 4 or 5 that I'm communicating with and have been for the past year, as we've been clearing all this out, because keeping it small in order to get it done. Well, 2 of them that were on at the end, when, remember, my feed got pulled, had been called off the live. One of them got a text from her ex-husband in another country to go to WhatsApp, and had to go to WhatsApp, and then had to get into her bank and make a bank payment. And the 5 minutes that she was gone, not only this woman, but a guy that has been pulled back in to my timeline to correct some things that were done in 2020 that we're figuring out how to connect for the collective now. He got pulled off at the same exact time. Both of them came back on, and my feed had been cut. And then 7 days. So I wanted to come on here and explain that, because in order to even cut my feed, they had to manipulate 2 that were currently focusing on it and listening to it to even cut it. This is the amount of manipulation that's going on in everyone's mind, in the tech. Many of you your timers, your timer, your inside timer, like when you're gonna do something, like what makes you act. Because you have to remember, this is all like body and mind control. Okay, so for a lot of you, what makes you act is some type of compassion, emotional duty, even response. So I just want all of you to realize what you're feeling whenever, oh my God, I found, now this happened yesterday with another AB negative, because us AB negatives, man, holy shit. It just happened yesterday, and it was this particular AB negative all of a sudden was sending me something from something that I said 3 or 4 days ago, 5 days ago, which in any other circumstance would be completely normal and fine for us to bullshit about it and whatever. But and she didn't know where I was. She didn't know what I was doing. But then all of a sudden she sends me some dictated things that put me in a precarious situation because of where I was at that particular moment. Her need to send me that came from a memory response of something. Now, we've been working together, so she was connected. She also, the reason it even came up in her mind about that particular scenario from 4 or 5 days ago, and why she even thought to send it, was because energetically she knew I was in a little bit of, you would call it a little bit of trouble. You're never in trouble. You're always where you're supposed to be, but to most, let's just say I was in a delicate, fragile situation at that moment. If she would have waited an hour, it wouldn't have been there. If she would have waited 30 minutes, it wouldn't have been there. This is a great example of how this works and how it hurts us. So what I'm saying is, we're so in the same consciousness that a lot of the times that the moment, and I don't know, you need to test this for yourself. You need to test this for yourself so then you know how to correct it. But what I'm seeing is that you're feeling those of us at making moves in the lines, and then what it's doing is triggering a compassion or heart thought. It's triggering a memory of whoever pops up in your head, and then just consciously ask, when that happens, for a minute, do I need to do anything physical? Because a lot of the times you can do whatever you're feeling about the being, it's gonna, do I need to make a physical contact, or do I just need to do something in my own little world because I know Chastia just popped up on my head and I just thought this, whatever, right? But when you make the physical contact through the technology or telecom or whatever, because it's all going through this, then what sometimes it's doing is not helping. Sometimes it creates an additional problem, but you wouldn't know that. You're just being a normal, you just have compassion from somebody. You just thought about him. You're just like, oh crap, I need to call. I need to, and then specifically, what is it that you want to say? Because a lot of you have the power to overwrite, even though you're not aware of it, to overwrite I mean, really, that whole thing, I wouldn't have even been in a fragile situation if that message wouldn't have come in from that AB negative, even. Not that I'm blaming it on her, because it ain't nothing. That ain't nothing about that. This is about us figuring out how to untwine these energetics and see why was that thought put in her head right then anyway. It's because I was undoing that current. So with another AB negative, then with her, and hers has more to do with space and Andromeda and all of that, which is kind of like the area that I was lacking in at the moment because I'm clearing through it. So that old response could throw me into an issue because of exactly when the message was sent. This is like your time belt. It's your timing. That's why you're also feeling it, because it's undoing some strand of time. So just if y'all will put that out there and just think about that as you're moving forward. The same works to help somebody, especially if they're not in the spiritual journey. You know, if we get a heads up, you need to make a phone call, something's up, something's going on. But see, those people typically they're unconscious to some extent, or they're not at your level or higher. I'm talking about the ones that you know that are at your level or higher. Stop yourself if it's coming on real strong and make sure you need to do it the old way. That's it. What's crazy about it is that what ended up being the reason that they pulled those two people off my live in order to shut me down is because I was talking about that Kyle Marissa. And I knew even on that live, because I've been telling the TikTokians, I've been telling them, hey, come over to YouTube. Whenever I go down, come over to YouTube. And in my mind, I don't know if that means that's because TikTok's totally going down, or if that means they're trying to shadow ban my account again. But if you're using it as a TikTok time machine, which is psyopt into your phone. Now then, I mean, that's what we're using it for. So the next 7 days, hold on to your fucking whippersnappers. I knew that I was on there dropping basically boom, 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 boom. I was saying a lot. I was calling out a lot. Okay? The lot. Because I also wanted to see what is it that you're so sensitive about? What I was saying about that whole thing, because, I mean, knowing what I know, number one, the person that gets taken out typically isn't the one that they actually sent it to. Because we've changed it, and everything's ricocheting. But even that being said, everything that's being maliciously done to any of us that are in the right sequence are utilizing it to bring it down, change it, whatever. The name Kyle in and of itself is a whole thing. The name Marissa in and of itself is a whole thing even. So I don't know, but and I won't even get into any more detail about that, because all I know is that it's all going to be utilized in the positive. But whenever I started saying Jennifer Lopez and Oprah and that name and describing that I knew that they had sent something They definitely sent, they definitely did some type of weird sun and moon ecliptic, whatever the F. But we're controlling the whole solar. So it basically gets sent to whomever can make the quickest change the fastest to correct everything. And she definitely is in our line. I mean, you can just look at her and know that. But I think the bigger question is, it's almost like one of those, if it is true, everything that they're saying, and if she is really gone, which, I mean, in a lot of ways, I know she's not, like, because there is no place to go. Even if she really did pass away, it's more like she passed over, but she'll be back. Like, I don't know. There's not to mention, and this is not anything against this character, and remember, we're having to change program settings and everything else, so realize I'm not, I mean, that she was doing exactly what she needed. I listened to her every once in a while, it would pop up, she'd give me information to help me out of certain scenarios. I didn't watch it religiously. It's more like she popped in to give me information, especially in the past year. But anybody who's only doing celebrity stuff, they're only doing celebrity stuff. This was even David Palmer and the Leo King when he started. He was how he got his start was doing celebrity astrology readings. But he was only doing celebrity astrology readings. I don't know. Just anybody who's only reporting on celeb stuff, then so, in a weird way, it's like you're helping them lay it even, depending on who you are, and depending on how much you're believing it. And I mean, in a weird way, it's giving them more power to do it if you're not careful, even. Because, I mean, the whole thing that I was describing with how all this is going is describing how they're losing their power. I'm always telling you how it happened, because I'm have to tell you, it's like I have to tell you what happened to explain how it's changing now and why it's showing up in your world the way it is. Which, because I've been trained to do it this way, although it isn't how you like the information. Because I've been trained to do it this way, what I'm always doing is creating a way out for everybody. But it's not the way you like the information as a reporter. As if I'm going to come and report the information, then you like it boom, 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 boom. You like it succinct. You like it to be in its own little box. You don't want me to start talking about something else first. The masses blame us for being schizophrenic or whatever the F, because we jump all over the place to explain something, but we know we're phonetic, and I mean, we know that we create everything that we say. So realize that the way that we speak and the way we explain it and all the little parts that go in between, whenever we're having to explain some of this stuff, we're purposely doing it so that we don't get you caught up in it by telling you about it. This is why a lot of your tarot readers that were, the ones that were reading the shadow, like, because I have a group, because I don't hardly listen to them at all anymore. Thank God. It's kind of going out. At least everyone's putting their tarot cards down. No shit, just channel. Because whenever you're using that same king and queen crap, then you're manifesting kings and queens. Do you want kings and queens? No, then just leave that part out. Use the oracle cards. Just don't say it all the time. But But the ones that in 2018, 2019, 2020 specifically on YouTube that I would listen to because they had connections into the shadow crap. They's hearing all about it because they're in that energy sequence and they're picking it up, you know? It's where they're at. So they're picking up the shadow. They can read the shadow. Well, that's why a lot of them then got attacked, whatever, because they created it by telling the story over and over again. I'm also well aware that that's why I come on here and have explained and explained and explained and explained and explained and explained is why we have to be on here, as why those 5 of us that are on here right now, that's why we're all on here right now. Every time you get on a live, like, you're in a bubble with us on different grid lines, all connected. It's how the tech works. We did call in a big command. It has to do with the treasury, and it has to do with unclaimed property, and it has to do with unclaimed property that are in all of our names associated to false 13 family masonry name changes, and is the reason most of us were being gang stalked, whatever the F-balls. So the command was made for next week for artificial intelligence to generate a letter and send the letter to all. If that data was used for any gang stalking, any fencing, any mass fencing, any electrical fencing, if it was used and any silo psyop tech and the AI would be able to tell, then we should be getting letters. We should be getting letters in the mail to let us know what accounts were attached to us. And if they don't do it, then we delete the whole thing. There isn't any money. There isn't any treasury. There's no trust of a treasury of an Omega or a Omni or whatever the fuck balls that's just holding your unclaimed property because they changed your name and fucked you up so many times, and then they just know who it is, so then they keep you in poverty. So and then they try to control your real money that's all in the system that they're praying that you don't collect. So insane. Basically, if any money exists with a gang stalked or anybody that's been gang stalked or manipulated, and people paid to do black magic or people paid to live around them in order to keep them from remembering who they really are in order to claim the property or the ability to do it, then you either need to notify us by the end of next week. So it looks like you got 7 days in order to notify us. If not, on the 28th of April, we will delete every single fucking dollar, every single account, every single software, every single connection into X Sharp, C Sharp, Ab Initio, all the way down through your Peachtree, your QuickBooks. We'll just take out the whole goddamn list and we'll bankrupt everybody. Hi, Heaven Marley. Hi, Shannon. Yeah, peaches. The whole thing about peaches. Is there not? We went way past apple. But Peachtree was your first accounting software down here. Did you know that? Peachtree, and it ran on law Son. Lawson. Law. Son. And I'm talking about major corporations. Like I'm talking about before you had Visual Basic applications, then everybody started building Visual Basic. They built Visual Basic and Visual C++. C++. How many? One, two, one, two. What's plus plus if you put it together? Hashtag. What's C sharp? C hashtag. The other accounting software that became a big deal is called Ab Initio. Abinitio. Ab Initio. The Ab Initio was one that the shadow programmers built X sharp on. Now that's another ream dinger, but it has to do with pasteurization. Liquefaction. And dairy. When I was on TikTok, I was explaining the past 3 days and my crazy because it's been pretty silent, but some major events have all happened in my world that changed my direction for the past 3 days in order to get me on the grid system in Dallas, Texas, where I needed to be on top of pyramids in order to unbind basically the 4 pints of blood that they made me give them in Medical City at 777 on Forest Lane in order to even take my son home from a hospital when he was born. What also came up in that live was cryogenics. What most don't realize, what I have just realized in the past 3 months in working with other AB negatives that were like me, that had children that were born in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 to be specific. So these were Generation X children of Generation X, which already held 2 program systems, and now we had children that held our 2 program systems, plus the 2 that were being built, which equals 4 program systems, and everything was going after that 13 to 17-year-old range. And everything that we pulled off yesterday, and including the guy who caught himself on fire. I mean, it's all working together in one big unison. All of that happened yesterday, and that's still transpiring over the next 3 days, is about the Ascended Collective taking power control of 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and everybody that was born in those 4 years now reports to us. And whatever energetic power that they were holding in, I'm hearing in Concord, Discord, Concord, I don't know, I need to look the Concord. And that was blockchained out and weird. Now their program is being switched to, their energy is being used in our program. Their energy is being used and sent to us to continue to pull everyone out. And I think we're already seeing it, but we're gonna see more and more and more and more coming from the children. the teenagers specifically. What I also got clearly, FYI, when a child turns 16, then and this is just normal per your energetic, and I've talked about this before with the ants and bees, and then the ants and bees, you're an AB, you're in the ants and bees, which is what they tried to turn the whole world into an ants and bees again, FYI. Okay, so and ants and bees is up. I mean, you're as soon as you're conceived until you turn 8 years old, you're ants and bees. From 8 years old until the day you turn 16, then you're mermaid and merman. When you turn 16, you're a star being. Well, what I clearly saw is that at 16, any child down here is basically cut from the parents' karma current. So, like, this is why I believe they have so many children and they're all hidden and they don't want anybody, because, and they keep having younger ones on purpose, because if they're making and breeding children in order to have them process their karma, which a lot of them were, then whenever they turn 16, the child is cut from parental karma. And if they're purposely using that 16-year-old for any reason, or their whole teenage years in order to clear your karma, and you're purposely doing it and attacking the mother or whatever, because you want that karma eraser on your line or whatever the F. And even the more that you try to erase the light side of it that was balancing it out just to clean your shit with no care of the child, then, oh shit, 16's a big fucking deal for you. Because whenever they turn 16, that shit's going to backlash like a motherfucker. I'm just kind of scanning to see if there's anything else I want to say over here. I personally was involved with the creation of YouTube since 2010. When I first got involved with YouTube, it was when it was a social media application, but nobody really realized what it was. Now we know social media is all psyops. It's all psyops. It's propaganda codes, and it's all psyops. And it's not just TikTok that they're watching. TikTok ended up being the quickest processor, but YouTube and then Facebook set up the machine for TikTok to run. YouTube in 2010, because I had my own consulting company. This is whenever, and I wanted to use YouTube in order to find good candidates. Nobody was doing that at the time. Nobody. And so I went and had my company. I paid, like, I think it was $25,000. I had to pay Splash Media in Addison Circle in order to get my company, GIA Technology, a social media presence, because I was planning on utilizing it to find more candidates, not more clients. I had enough clients. I needed to find the right people. When we got to the YouTube part, and mind you, I was paying these people, right? This was 2010. I thought that they knew more than me. When I got to the YouTube part, they handed me like an instructional video script, and I was like, what the fuck? You want me to pay you to open a free account and read how to do it? Who's going to watch that? That's boring as shit. Who's going to watch a bunch of instructional videos? Unless, I mean, now you can see that's what YouTube's used for. It's what do you do if you don't know how to do something? You pull up the directions on YouTube. Somebody on here is giving you instructions for it, right? But just realize that the entire platform, that's what it was built for. And so I had to pay him extra money to like act out this little, we made little commercials. We made little commercials because I was trying to give the information, but trying to make it more entertaining. Now, I just said a lot. Now what do you have? YouTube TV? See, here's our problem. YouTube TV and YouTube streaming can't run off a YouTube collective that's been gated and fenced and gang stalked and manipulated from an etheric way or affecting your money, affecting your livelihood, affecting whatever, or even your real DNA in order to hold it. Like, that's why I had to leave YouTube and go to TikTok. But I was basically thrown into it one night. I was over here doing a YouTube video about 2 years ago, and it was a short, because realize that the YouTube shorts is TikTok. It's the same tech. That's why you're able to do hearts right now over here. Like, so basically YouTube was using TikTok to elevate YouTube. Well, YouTube, you can't turn yourself into a TikTok time machine based on a bunch of 2012 timeline takeovers on a rumpy rup and a gold play on a Bank of America. See, that was 2010. By 2012, GIA Technology, I was 40 under 40. My company was almost $3 million. We were using the social media appropriately. One of my girls had already she was on Cupcake Wars at the same time that I won 40 under 40, at all going down Halloween 2012. And I mean, we's all on TV. We's all throwing big parties for each other. See, we figured out the system. Well, 2012, I get a notification whenever, because I'm posting all this on Twitter. Because I'm using all of them, because all of them work in a little machine. So I'm using Twitter and I'm posting, well, we just went to this Halloween party and here's us dressed as this, and here's this on Cupcake Wars, and here's this on this, because we're showing you, hey, us women can do this too. You don't have to be whatever. Well, 2012, my Twitter account gets taken over. ...2012 later on that year, then that's when everything goes nuts. Because see, we were using everything the appropriate way. Our energy was involved in the tech per hybridization. They knew that we were the actual Mickey Mouses in the tech. As soon as we figured it out and connected it all, then they thought that they had the whole game show. And it worked for a minute. But what I was reminding everybody on TikTok is that all of those that attempted to do this planetary solar Ponzi scheme, we forced you to do it to see how far you'd fucking go with it. You thought it was your idea to come freaking show up and try to do it, but what I'm telling you is that we made you do it. We made you do it so we could see you doing it, so we could call you out, so we could undo it. We forced you to do every piece of it again, all the way back from Stanford Financial. Stanford Financial came up today. Look it up. Stanford Financial, heavily linked to Madoc. Stanford Financial, a bigger Ponzi scheme in Houston, Texas than Enron, except Stanford didn't affect the people as much, which is why you heard more about Enron. It didn't affect the people working at the company right then. It's affecting us now. We command all heartstrings connected to the Lyric Center in Houston, Texas, and the New York base to be cut. We command any heart stimuli sequences creating false narratives for specific gains of a collective to be cut off all heartstrings. The other thing that came up real big, if you weren't on the TikTok live, was please everybody realize that they're all one big cast. Just all your NATO, all your big CEOs of any company, especially right now, anybody that is supposedly in charge of something, whatever it is right now, and the United States presidential system since Nixon has been one orchestrated event. They're all the same people. They're all the same beings. They've only been changing their names, changing their identities, changing what they look like, but they only could do that because of the organic connections that they had. That's what we've been fixing because they imprinted their shit, their DNA sequences into us in order to print them that way. That's why you don't know about us. You only know them. They're all the same. It's kind of like whenever you get a car, then who made the car? The dealership? No, dealership didn't make the car. Who made the car? You think it's Ford? Okay, well, where did Ford get their parts from? Is all of it made by Ford? No. There's a whole bunch of people and then it's labeled Ford. Well, that's how your presidential system works. That's what it is. There it is. There it is. They're and the collective can control it. That's we're at the tipping point. We're at the tipping point right now. You put us in the middle of it. You used our DNA and the connections to the collective in order to have the collective create your false identity. Well, the collective will be the one that undoes it. We can override the entire system. They used us to ride it. The collective system is how they mind fucked everybody to have them use our collective system to print that. Well, we're at the tipping point. The more people that understand that they're one big fucking play. It's one big actors union. That's it. There they are. Other thing that kept coming out was Maximilian, Maxwell, Max, all the names of Max and how it was connected into the Evergreen and the Louisiana Purchase that went down. That was all John Baptiste and the Evergreen and the true original descendants of John the Baptist. Because you really didn't have descendants of what you'd call Yahshua directly this far deep. You had descendants of John the Baptist, and those descendants of John the Baptist were connected to Yahshua. But see, Mary was even deeper than John. What's Rumpy Rump's real name? John Titan. At least that's his time traveler name. Boo. How did I scare you? I triggered you. I triggered you. I didn't scare you. I triggered you. So, specifically, what did I say that triggered you? Because that means that it's something that you need to look into. Because if it triggers you, then that shows you there's something with whatever I said, whatever I was talking about, that you need to find out about, undo in your consciousness. It's somehow connected to your story if it triggered you. Okay? It's a good sign to be triggered. I scare a lot of people from a lot of different ways. So you don't have to explain it to me. Just whatever it was, even write it down, and then right now say consciousness, angels, gods, God, whatever, whomever, whatever you call your suite of higher selves. Show me why, Chastity, you just scared the shit out of me. And make it easy and graceful. And have it show up in my dreams and not act out in front of me. Trying to think if there's anything else right now. So needless to say, keep your bells on. I'll be on here for sure the next 7 days with my crew. Even our website is down right now because it's a manipulation. We've got it all fixed. I just haven't turned it back on yet. I'm having to wait. So that should tell you a little bit about where we are, because in an overall program sequence, we broke the program. What we've been dealing with for the past 2 months specifically is if anything around you comes around you and you've been on this anything's triggering you, anything happens, anything changes, even with what changed over here that made me be the one to need to take Martha to the appointments. It was all 2 programs butting heads because we changed the timeline of the program, and you can clearly see it because everyone else is so unconscious. It's like, oh well, I know what that was. I know where we were going then. I know why we didn't do this. I know da 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 da. But it's not anybody specifically. It's 2 programs having to find a dominant. Oh, well, thank you. And it's not rare. I just have all your brains connected. I'm all your brains connected in a grid system. You would have called me Gaia. Everybody stopped looking for me. Everybody in the spiritual community is like, oh, Gaia can wake up anytime you want. You just wake up and you shake up all the crust. And you got to get the barnacles. That takes a chisel. And it's part of your exostructure. Because at this point, it's not just a shell. It's got nerve endings. It's part of your exostructure. Well, so to all you spiritual community that just said, hey, Gaia, all you got to do is wake up and shake it all off. It's shaking, baby. It's shaking. It's shaking. It's having to shake from a different goddamn solar system. It's been going on so long. It ain't even just doing anything to your Milky Way. It actually started quaking and shaking and all time deleting out there because of what was pinned on down here, because everybody just forgot that you was walking around on a live being, because Gaia was second step. Everybody definitely forgot about Terra. Nobody even knows who the fuck Terra is. Well, if you ain't got no Tara, you ain't got no Brigitte, you ain't got no Ireland, you ain't got no blood DNA sequence into the earth, now it's programmed to an alien being, everything goes plastic in an alternate reality, and then you go, oh shit. I'm just letting you know I'm not rare. Where I come from, I'm like in kindergarten. And that's the truth. Is this is to the extent the mind has been subjugated. This is also why we've had to put a little twisty off, because I mean, this is what Libra is all about. When you control the cosmos, you can twist it off. So if you will, we took that little bread twisty and we twisted off. We twisted off the realm because we couldn't go out any further because we was already losing everybody. And it's not why we were here. We weren't here just to get us out. We got out in 2018. We had to go back in. We were here to get the entire human race's brains back. So there's a little twisty tie that's gone off, and that's why it hit bottom, boom, because then that energy went, if it's all the way up here and then you twist it off, then it's going to go, and then you're going to have to, well, see, that's real easy for us because we've already been twisted off, flip, twisted off, flip, twisted off, flip. So it's like whenever it flips again, we're like, oh shit, Nelly, hold on. Just fucking, that's what's happening right now. We're shooting back up to the top. That's why everything's coming undone. Because we'd already cleared through it before they did all this shit. So we have the natural current, and with all the changes, and it just shoots through. Then everything starts falling. But thank you for saying that. It's just important for me to remind everybody that those of us that you feel that way about, our thing was when we woke up, like, how did everybody get so stupid? Like, that's been our main thing. How do we get everybody's brains back? Because if we don't get your brains back, then in the future, we don't have no brain. It's a neural net, and you're attached into some, like, oh God, you don't even want to know what's coming for the for the ones who don't make it out of this. You don't even just don't even think about it, so you don't accidentally create it in your world. But you don't want to know. Yay! There's a bunch of us that became the Terras, this is that hidden bloodline that nobody knew about. This is the one you'd call us shapeshifters now. I mean, because it's originally where that DNA even came from, and because it's more of a mermaid, it's more of a, it's how that pattern even formed to be able to, for them to even be able to shapeshift. All your Ostera, anybody that was ever in any line, that was ever in any ritual as for the earth. Ostera, equinoxes, like all that. We have our own hereditary tree. Just like what I'm seeing is the Anu, like Anu down the Egyptian lines, and then you've got the one woman that's like blipping all throughout it that no one. And then that ends at Issacharius, but even Elon's in there, and they want to say Issacharius is Mexicans. What? No. Issacharius is the one that's attached to the Christ. That's where the Essenes take over, basically. the blood. Now you're in the land. Okay. Issacharius was Sarah Damaris. That's where it links back into our weird ass family tree that nobody's drawn out yet because we're waiting for the treasury to send us our letters. A lot of y'all are in it. A lot of us are in both. We're in the because it is what it's because realize that rerunning this program is what made this one just deeper. That's why you're in the body and the blood now. Same thing. This is this program now, and this is mind control. This is body control. That woman that's jumping all over through the Egyptian timelines as you know through Cleopatra's line and then up since a new and blah blah blah. That same woman is the top one over here. And it don't take long for the whole world to get tuned to your DNA pattern. It really don't. I mean, this is why ants and bees and mermaid is why it's an age thing, because who were you born with? How many people were born that year? You're all in the same frequency pattern because it's a collective frequency pattern. You were born because of a collective sequence that went off, not and then mom and dad decided to get it on, and then mom and dad in the middle of that but they didn't even realize that that's why they's getting it on. They's feeling it. Okay, and then the mom will feel it as soon as it happens. That's why. It's like you didn't just have a child. You had a child attached to a current. You were delivered a stork from that current. You take the whole race and because all of us that ascended went back. I mean, we went back through adolescence. That's why we had to stop in 1991. We all purified. We were all reborn again. Explain that. Send it, masters. I don't meet very many of y'all that were born in 1972. In fact, very few. It's really weird. Because, I mean, 1971, yes. 1973, yes. 1972, hardly ever. Hardly ever. I mean, this is still a mystery part to me. I mean, I'm just telling you the data as that came in. Hardly ever. Anybody on here born in 72? (1986) was, I want to call it a regenerative collective. They had already been fucked with. So I don't. That's the only. And then 86 because 90 was where they had to link in because basically 88 is 68. Same thing. 88 is 68, but so you's probably also born in 1968. Yeah, it's like a parallel timeline. 1968, 1988. What I would do what I tell my people that were born in is realize that you know how, like I say, with Generation X, we have 2 different program settings? Well, you had 2 parallel programmed realities. So 1980, just if you was born in the 80s, after 83 is from 83, 84, 85 is the beginning of the programming into it, and then after 86 they were already here. Okay, call in your consciousness and command that any parallel realities that you were walking in merge with the one that your current one. Because with y'all, what I've seen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again is that you literally have another person walking in your 68 timeline, and you're doing it in parallel, but they're only here because you're still here, and they're walking out a very specific timeline that's affecting your timeline because it's the same timeline. So you need to merge that, but also it's there because because obviously you got taken out in that timeline in the 68 version in some sense of the way. The only way that 68 timeline has been able to continue is because of what you created in your 1988 timeline. And then when they try to enter into your whatever you created, then that whole thing should come up or fall on you, not whoever wrote it on your timeline, or even if it was you, because it could have been, like, I'll give you an example. It could have been a soldier, could have been died in the war, could have, who knows? Because in the 60s, karma set in so bad to so many because they stepped in the timeline. They stole the life. They stole the sequence. So you just leave. Scientists, doctors, anything to do with NASA, I mean, even holding government office. Oh, Shane's a character. Shane's a name in the program. Let me see if I know Shane. Are you still on? Shannon, are you on? So let's see if I know Shane. Okay, is Shane... Well, he's probably kind of good looking. People would assume, like, people would say that they're good looking. Also tend to look younger than their age. Super, super, super outgoing. Well, a lot like me. Like in the social setting, they're real outgoing, but then we can be fine, be by ourselves too. Normally in the Matrix, everybody wants us to go out because we have so much fun, and then everyone thinks that we're party animals, but we're actually getting dragged out because we're make everything fun for everybody else. In a weird way, it's like they're kind of involved with a lot of it, but and they actually navigate it pretty well, but they're not conscious. They're not conscious to it. But they actually cosmic surf pretty well. They actually, they end up falling in the right place at the right time pretty well. Like, bad things happen, but not like horrible. I'd love to know if I'm describing your brother or not, because I had a Shane. Shane was in my timeline, and what's crazy about it is it was 1991. I just said that. We only went back to we stopped this at 1991 because all of us weren't gonna go through fucking adolescence again, because it literally had got to Benjamin Button. See, isn't that nuts? Shane. But see, Shane is like second generation Sean's. And Sean, AWN, is the lower program than Sean AUN. You'll notice that if you know any Sean's, AWN, and Sean's AUN, and you go call them, like if you happen to know two Sean's, fucking go get one of them to tell you one of their crazy, weird stories about something that significantly changed their life, and then call the other Sean and ask them if they've had a similar situation, and your mind's going to get blown. You're, ah! Of course it is. Shannon's on here saying, Sean's my brother, my older brother. Of course. Okay, well, does it, in your world, does it appear that like Sean was that Shane was built off Sean in some weird way? Sean laid the groundwork for Shane, good or bad? It's so crazy because we're pure frequency beings. Those of us that are in this one, this little pyramid, and then this one, if we have both of them, we're pure frequency beings. What you call us, what you tell us, what we're named, we actually, that's the program. It's the phonetics. We run it clear. We're clearly running. That's why I had to change my name from Kristen, Christ in. I was done being everybody's Christ. That didn't work out for me. I got sent to the experiment lab. I got experimented on. I got all this stuff done to me. We lived the pure frequency being of it. All of us that were named Christian. That's why they named us all Christian. That's why. That's why. If you have Christ in your name, just do yourself a favor and stop having people call you that. Make up a new name and see if you lose some of the karma in your life. Because when you're a pure frequency being, your story is what you're named, what you're called. It's the phonetics. It's what did I say yesterday? It's a techno Babylonian twist. And then you're Shannon. See, and the Shannon in my world, I had two Shannons. One of them was in high school, and her dad was one of them. Started the tech stuff in Bryan College Station, but you can tell in a way she's the sacrifice for it. Let's just say that. I'm not gonna get in. And her last name was even Collins, which Collins has been a fucking thing in my world this whole time. Collin County, Collins. I mean, Collins was one of the major, and that happened to be the Shannon I knew, her last name, and it happened to be the house I was at when I watched Pink Floyd The Wall, and it happened to also be in her swimming pool whenever Sean, my boyfriend, slapped me for telling his new girlfriend, Marnie, that he cheated on her with me. He brought her over to Shannon Collins' pool. I was in the pool. Because I told her, because I knew her. He came to my house last week. She called him out of it. They got in the car, drove to Shannon Collins' house. We's in the pool. He said, tell her now. I said, okay. So I told her. And then he slapped the shit out of me. That was all around Shannon. But see, SHAN, SHAUN, SHAWN. See, that Shaw, SHAW. Over here on this little weird thing, the Shaw. The Shaw is the maneuvering of all of us through baby systems, through baby farming, through Vatican, through whatever. I call it the Shaw, SHAW, and then that's prison systems even involved in that, different karmic payback, getting switching from one to the other. It should be your good karma, but it's happening to somebody else because there was this and this and this and this and this because it's in the Shah. And then Sierra, Sierra, Sierra is the government, military ops, government pieces, the ones, the Shahs that became in the Sierra because of whatever the fuck, mass programming, basically mass human programming. And you'll hear me talk about those a lot, the Shah and the Sierra. So I would definitely say, Shannon, that your stuff came in through the Shah. That's you ended up, that's why you were in that family. That's why you were in the middle of it, no matter, was to break up that Shah interference. Oh wow. See, that goes to why I did some shit in Anaheim. Wow. Yeah, I never connected that before. I never connected that experience of him slapping me in the 80s to the Anaheim swimming pool on top of Disney, but you just did. Thank you. See, because so many y'all, we have so many of the same experiences, it'll blow your mind. This is, I mean, this is really what we all need to be talking about. Like, this is why everybody's story is important. It's why everybody's truth is important. But realize that there's only so many human programs down here for you. I mean, there's only 32 at its core. And then a mixture of those. So you might have a little bit of number 2, and you might have a little bit of number 20, and you might have a little bit of number 31, 30, 32. But it all acts out in what you think is an accident, or how did I get caught in the middle of this? Why me? Good or bad. This is how I started figuring this out in 2018, because the astronomy started coming back in, and as we were all discovering what stars we came from, and we were all on the phone connecting with each other and talking about it, then I realized, and all of them got sick of hearing it from me, because this is what blew my mind, is that I was like, oh my God, that happened to me. Oh my God, that happened to me. Oh my God, that's happened to me. Which is totally annoying, and I fucking get it. But it ended up being because I had all the star points. So I had like lived them all, because that's this little crazy tree over here. We'd already cleaned everybody's karma. That was the thing. But that's what started building Starionomy and Starseedology, which ended up becoming Cohu 32. Was all of us, and that's why whenever you have these, when I look at your chart, or whenever you look at your chart, and you can, I mean, it's why whatever happened to you happened, period. But there ain't very many, and the more that you get into the Shah and Sierra, they're gonna have the same exact names. You know that it's like Shaw and Sierra shit from this over here. If you have the same experience with the, and you both have like the same name, or it happened on the same street, or maybe it was on Sean's street that it happened with somebody else, but Sean's in there, baseball's in there, it's in there. Was Sean a baseball player? In the O neg line, Sean was a baseball player. In the AB negative line, Sean screwed 2 twins at a baseball park. my God. See, diamonds, D-I-A. It's all about the I-A. See, Gaia is G-A-I-A. What's the opposite of A-I? I-A. The very opposite of AI is Ia. That basically Ia is the higher self origination into the cosmos connected to Terra. AI is a program. One's got a 2, one's got a 1. Programs are +1 on a 369. Origins are on a +2 on a 369. The exact opposite of Ia is AI. Because because IA is all the data working through a formation in a processor, and it's like the data, it's all the data working in a form in order to make something. So what's AI? Extraction of data put into an infrastructure falsely to make something out of it, because there's no current, because IA has the current, but you just took AI out of IA. See, IA, diamonds, Diana, Aya, IA, IA. Christian, T-I-A-N, Tia, Tia in the word, Tiamat, see, Babylonian phonetics, but it's why diamond, pressure cooker, Shaw, Sierra. We basically, diamond was in the Sierra, in the Sierra Winter Soldier program, which is kind of like basically as patient X of that. Sierra in the Winter Soldier program, diamond would be the level that you'd have to clear to get out of their handling, and that's what the Ascended did. So whenever you're clearing out, you're going to clear through the diamond layer before you get to star. But if you think about it, diamond and star, same thing, except one pressurized, but reacting more like a crystal, but more like everything, like the diamonds around you. You're in the diamond. Star is you are the star, and you're everything out. I am man Shannon. Oh, that's even better. That's even better per what you told me so far about your story. Interesting. I'm not going to get into Shannon Collins' story, but I just have a question. Do you have any weird things that ever went down with hot dogs or wieners in your world? Hot dog or wieners or corn dogs or sausage, anything in your life? Because in Shannon Collins' world, it was all about this hot dog thing, and it was this thing that went around school, and it actually really fucked up her reputation and all of that. But whenever you think of her from our school, that's what you first think of is hot dogs. So what's crazy is this probably, aren't you the one that was born in 1988? Because what's crazy is that, like, all that shit, that's when that happened, was 1988. And that's when the stuff happened with the hot dog and me getting slapped in the pool and all that. Because I graduated in 90. So it was right around 87 or 88. You're the 1968. So I'm correct, but y'all's group kind of set up for that weird shit to be introduced into the Shannon I knew there, just from the programs that were done 10 years in advance, and then whatever they did to wind those programs right there. Can I ask what state you were lived in as a child? Let's just say that, not necessarily born in, because I'm not sure if you moved around a lot, but when you were a child, what state what state were you in? You did say 88. New Jersey. Oh, that was Anthony. 1968. Anthony was 1988. Anthony's in New Jersey. British Columbia. Anthony, I'm glad you're here, because I think this is a really good way to even kind of. I know that they's messing with you so bad in the past few years, but you know how I always telling you, yeah, you could be wrapped up into that, but I promise you're not the one who fucking started it. This is kind of, it's totally a different topic, totally a different energetic that we're talking about. On Anthony's side, it was less programming and more black magic, illusion, manipulation, and what I know about it, because I don't know a ton. On Shannon's side, we're seeing the programs. But it's all, but see, Anthony, the name Anthony, that's, and why it was Mark Anthony, Anthony, that name, and that was even Sarah Damaris's supposed husband, which Sarah Damaris is Jesus de Graal, which is sister, which is basically Joshua, if you want to. And then he had a sister, Sarah Damaris, but Sarah Damaris, even on the scrolls, has no death date. And then she had a husband who was also pre-Merovingian, written in on the scrolls, that was her husband. But Sarah Damaris never was alive. So she's basically kind of like always dead. So then the husband was basically bound to see, this was everything that was happening on this dark side, and these fake marriages and da 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 da, because they weren't ever really happening here. It was like being done in the spirit, and then this is how other people were able to jump in, blah 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 blah. But that, the fact that that we're talking about a 68 timeline and an 88 timeline, see, because even the stuff that I'm talking about that I had with Sean and Shannon, see, that all happened in the 80s. It's just such a trip. Right. Or what was supposed to happen if they wouldn't have, because they cut us all up here from the future. The problem is the future was never built, because you took future beings and you stuck them down here and tried to keep going to the past. Now we're to the, that's what the problem was. The future never was built, because it takes human energy and human stories to build the future story. If you take over the story and you reverse it all and bring it all back to the past, and nobody is elevating into, then you don't have a future to step in. And this was all about selling the future. It's on the scroll because it should have been what happened next, but because neither characters were ever introduced, they were always the power behind the line, then that's what ended up creating this whole structure. Because on this other pyramid system with the missing Egyptian woman that's up here, but it's really from Sarah, from Mary, from the lines in the future that never made it back down here. You never met us because it was integrating, and it had to do with twining, which created twins, but twining. And dominant storytellers. See, and that's what's changing right now is and we're at the tipping point because we're the dominant storyteller now. So it's like everybody that was hooked up to Sarah Damaris and Antony in that stage, and everything that was built from it since the point of existence, now they end up getting here. That full power and full knowing and full set ends up getting here in you, but because kind of you died in the middle, so it's like the whole thing comes back in. That's the rebirth. Now that energy is here. It's not being written. Basically, too, like any high profile celebrity relationship was written on that energy. That's why all of them are having a, that's why all of them have a problem, because it's written on that power source to create that power. And the only reason they're together is to create that Sarah and Anthony sequence. But that's also why their shit goes completely cray-cray. But in totally different ways depending on the coupling. All right, y'all. I've been talking for a long time because I did TikTok right before I did this. So I'm going to exit off of here. Today is the 20th. I need to show you one thing. Oh, God. I've got this whole thing charted from the eclipse into June, how all these spheres are lining up. And today is also Venus and Mercury are at 17 to 18 degrees of Aries, and Jupiter and Uranus are straddling each other. Uranus is sitting on Jupiter's golden phallus. We just got through this. We're right there. We just got through this 3-day alignment. We're right here. We already came through all that. So now we're right here. Tomorrow, this is what the energy is. Notice I do have this right here. So the 20th, the 21st, the 27th, and the 28th, just make a note. What's happening. Oh, and see, when am I told 7 days. That's what I told y'all. I'm off of TikTok for 7 days. Hold on, Freddie. Hold on, because I made you. I want because you can't. I made him block me so that I could fuck with him. Because you can't stop us. The more you try to stop us, the more we're gonna take control of your shit. So I mean, there it is. There it is. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Pull the trigger. Let me make your day. You think you're more powerful than us? Pull the trigger. Let's see. Let's see. This is where we are right now. Yep, 27th and 28th. Now, real quick, and I'll probably come on and talk about this again, but right now it's like what we're doing is we're getting ready for Monday. Monday, see that green, this guy? This is the only day next week that we have this carpentry. Now we've got that little green, looks like we have a nail. And that's the 24th and 25th. I can tell you right now that on the 25th is a year to the date of Gaia's last command. It's a year to the date. That's massive. It was the last command that we had to make before we jumped here, because it's already been completed up there. It's just still coming down here. So the 24th and the 25th are 50-50 days. And the 23rd is a full moon. So that's the 22nd. That's our magic number 222. There's going to be a lot of events that happen. We've only had one other day with this energy, and let me tell you what day it was, because it was a total fucking trip and a half. It was the 10th, April 10th. Everything went bonkers, sideways, like boo, 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 boo. That's because these green. This is the collective architecture. This is the collective timelines. Whichever ones need to be changed, because there ain't very many that needed to be changed. There's only 32 programs. You take out the right timeline, you put in the right one, you change everybody's timeline. That's what all the ones that think that they chose us to come after us. Oh no, baby. We chose you to come after us because we knew in the end, we've been watching. We chose you to be the one to come after us. That's why we ended up where you could find us. You did not choose us. You did not catch a glowworm. You did not fish out the biggest fucking catfish in the ocean. No. We called you to that area of the ocean to find the catfish. I can promise you that. So this is the 22nd, 23rd. We got that's the full moon. They're calling it the pink full moon. I've been talking about pink. Pink is a physics term. It's also percentage of ink. Literally in their weird as whatever the F balls. Pink. The reason pink is a physics term is because there's this whole thing about how you're really not seeing pink. You're seeing other colors that blend together to make pink. Which is why it became a percentage of ink. So this is the pink full moon. Then the next day, so it's like we're gonna have all this blah, and then the full moon's gonna attach. Then we've got one day in between that's going to be important. It's got some connectors, but it's not green. So, and the 24th is a 50 day. The 25th is a 50 day. And the 24th, I don't have it green, but I have some, I mean, I'd say 24th, some shit's going to go down. Like, we're going to find out some stuff. Something's going to crash from the program, from the artificial, something. 22nd is about laying a timeline for when it goes down. So when it goes down, then there's something to catch it if it needs to be catched. If it doesn't need to be caught, then it's just going to go down. And then the whole rest of the week is then on the 26th, the 25th, I have Gaia's last command, and the 25th is going to be a major connection point. Then on the 26th, I have Magic Rainbow written down. The 27th and 28th. Now we're back to, remember I just said it's where we are now. These little 4 days that are connected right there. We're in the one with the writing right now. So see, by the end of next week, this 27th and 28th is basically going to be printing whatever the fuck we're talking about today and tomorrow. Then we're going to have Monday the next week. Then it's going to be... Then it's going to do that. And that is special. that is special. There really isn't another one like that in this. And we're almost to the end, because there's only one under L connector right before the next L connector happens on the 7th. Okay, there's only one other. This is like I don't even know, but those 2 days right there, which is the 30th and then the 1st. Are going to is what's carrying it from this week, this coming week. This is the Monday. It's going to carry over into the Tuesday and Wednesday of the next week. See how that connects? And then look. You're lined up. You're lined up. And then we're going to have 3 weeks to get us to here. This is where 2 are lined up sharing one eye. This is our last little L bucket right here that I was telling you about. And this is where the flower moon and the new moon, this all lines up right here, and this is what happens right before it. So that's also telling us that on, the twin side, and also what's happening is these lines that are going across here, which are basically like guitar string holders or any type of stringed instrument holder. That's what this was, the basis of that on the cosmic side. And what's happening is it's turning on its side to 333 alignments. These are 333 alignments. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to fork off here and then line up. So if you're getting any type of 333 codes, 333, which is kind of like Yahshua divine masculine codes, it's catalyze. Those 333 codes, if you're seeing them, then you can take them as a precog of what's coming between May 6th and really May 29th, because May 29th is when the portal mirror does whatever. We're in one mirror stage right now, but really until the 29th, the 21st for some, the 26th for others, depending on how far out your energetic body is. So some might be ending this count on the 8th. Some might be ending this count on the 26th. But it's going to go all the way until the 29th. So even if you are lined up by the 8th, you're not going to understand the full mirroring situation until the 29th. So as I was talking about that, I was seeing something. I was seeing, so if you're, because it's just different energies and different eye sets, some go way out, some go closer. And this is what we've been putting back together. So even if you have a character, and this is for all of us, this is for any of us, if we have characters that pop back in, let's say they pop back in the 8th or the week of the 8th, the first week of May, which is a big deal. First week of May has been a big deal. It's what activated the shit out of me. May 3rd through May 8th is a lot. So let's say a new energy pops back in our world on May 8th. We would do disservice to ourselves to make any firm agreements or contracts with that energy until the 29th. And as long as we just do that, it's not that you can't hang out with them. It's not that you can't talk to them. It's not that you can't be around them. Just don't jump in bed with them and don't sign a contract or don't open up a business or buy a house with them or buy a car with them or I don't know. Don't do anything that you can't undo before you get the full picture on the 29th. Wow. I'm not surprised. All right, guys, I think that's it. That's all I got for now. You know, I'll be back on whenever I feel like I need to go live. So if you've got anything to add to this, please put it in. Especially if it's for everybody, please put it in the comments of the video whenever we hang up from here. If there's a piece of this, because YouTube, what's great about it is it's captured. People can go back and watch it for a long time. So if there's, and I got holes all in this story that need filling. Y'all have them. So especially if it's for the rest of the collective and it's something that you know is part of the program based or anything we're talking about, please just put that on the comments so it's all there and connected. And I'll be back if anything else pops. I've kind of come back on whenever I feel like I need to, because we're all doing different energy merging. And sometimes some of us need to be on the same channel at the same time just because some shit was done and wound on us before. And now we're in new energetics. And so it's undoing things that were done before. So sometimes it's not even about, I mean, I could come on here and talk about spaghetti. We could talk about how to make a rubber band. Thunder. And everything would be getting done that needs to be getting done. Burp. Exactly. Had it thunder too right then. So we command all that was bound on us in any way, especially in any ellipse or ecliptic energies. And for those of us who brought in ecliptic dense energy for the collective and in many ways paid the price for it on every dimension because somebody had to write a shadow connection or else we wouldn't have even ever been able to build a connection. We command for those shadow connections to delete and for the Freddy timeline to connect. I'm praying that it's time for that, for all parties involved. No, well, it depends on what you're talking about. 29th of May, because anything that comes in from May 8th until May 29th, because that's when all these different perspectives are going to start showing up. But see how this is over here? Well, that's associated to this eye up here. So I don't know. Are you that far out to where your one eye's right here and your one eye's right here? Or are you right here and lined up this way? Or are you lined up this way? Or these guys? So what I'm seeing is that there's going to be a lot of different, just do yourself a favor, starting around that first week of May, as energies start coming into your surroundings, just be wise and don't make a major move with it, because this person might pop in and it's the shadow version of this person, but you already signed up with this person, so you meet your shadow. Or I don't know, this might be the real one because you're way out here, but then you figured that out by these two fucking clowns coming in. Like, just do yourself a favor and not you meet them, go hang out with them, invite them into your world if it resonates. Just don't concrete that motherfucker until the 29th. Then after the 29th, you're going to really know, and you're going to be real positive when you're definitely going to know that what it wasn't. I mean, we haven't even, the collective hasn't even created since past, we're only going up to June 16th right now. I'll let you know when I've got to do it. This is all undoing this ecliptic. And just to make you feel better, this was last month. This is why this was so fucking nuts. We've already been through all this. We already got through this part. Now we're on page two. Now we're on page 2. It looked more like this. And we've already got through this part too. But see? Now May is this. This is from the ecliptics. See this little pod right here? That's the new moon and full moon lining up. That's why these guys are lining up. So I'm just saying, don't, as that's lining up and dropping in, because everybody's energetically matching, whatever. Just don't jump into bed with anybody until after May 29th on any. If it is the right one, they can wait 21 days, can they not? Anything that's trying to rush you in any way, That's not just sex. That's signing a contract. That's signing a lease. That's signing a house. That's anything. Anything that's gonna lock. That's anything that's gonna lock you in for a minute. Just hold up. Wait a second. Take your time. This is power waits. Party don't show up until we get there. Literally, in our energetic power waits. If just wait. And I know that because I was one of them. And then there was a point where, if you will, the sacrificial lambs were together. And then there was a point in this where the sacrificial lambs had to, one red heifer went one direction, one red heifer went another direction. Put it that way. But the stories were always still intertwined, and everything that was happening to one was still happening to another in the same way. And and in different ways for each too, horrifically. Okay? The most important part of that to get out of it is to realize that's what it was. And to not blame anything or anybody for it. And to just realize wherever you are right now, in whatever situation it is right now, that whatever there were moves that were made or that dictated that, not right or wrong, not ever right or wrong, especially when you're the sacrificial lamb. It's just happening to you. It's happening to you and to me, but we took it for the collective. Now, in order to flip that, you have to just completely not blame anybody for anything, or else you keep recreating the same program. We got this. And remember why you started out to do it to begin with, because I think that's the main thing, because all of us who had the ability to change it, we were changing it. Our original reason that we all got together was always to clear it, clear all the curses, change it, clear the bloodline, and to get what we were supposed to get. Then once it started changing is when everything went fucking nuts in every scenario of everybody that I did clearings with. But I always, once I got out of the trauma of the experience, because I couldn't see it in the middle of it. But after I got out of the trauma of the experience, the main thing that I was always being shown across the board is who they were when I first met them and why I was originally around them to begin with, before everything started undoing and changing. And every single time, this is what it was. We all, no matter what happened next, it's almost like sometimes I got to certain people right before they got taken over, or right before something went down, and then I was there, or they were sent to do it to me, and then since they were sent to do it to me, it happened to them. But no matter, the reason it was coming to me is because y'all all knew that I'd figure it out and I wouldn't attack. That's why it came to me. Even Keanu Reeves sent me a message, and he was like, he was like, thank you. Thank you for not obliterating all of this, because you could have. You could have just taken us all out, and we could have. We could have. Very easily. A long time ago. And went through a whole lot less pain and not gone through the past 7 years. But that isn't what this was about. Our children were mixed up into it for a reason. And I'll remind everybody, this wasn't my time. 2018, I'd already cleaned all my shit. We had already cleared Christ. We had already connected the body. We had already connected the cosmos. We did all that. After 2018, this was all about our children. We took on the DNA strands of our children. We did the next generation as well. Everything that we've been through in the past since 2018 has all been about the children and what was coming next. I just told you. I just told you how to make it end. Okay. And the rest of it, I don't know. I would, there's certain moves that they had you make that you need to make peace with and settle on, because that's a reason it ended up where it was. But I mean, everything that's happening to you is happening to me too. The only difference was in the middle of it, I had to heal Martha, Al, the templates, the bloodline in order to have a place to stay. Because the same thing was set up to happen on me, and it did to an extent. And even though it didn't, I still got blamed for it and my child taken away. And then I was pinned as being homeless, but I wasn't. That all the court documents were saying I was homeless. I wasn't homeless. I never have been homeless. Nothing wrong with it. But that's what it said. That's what it said in the documents that I was, and why I couldn't have seen my son ever again until he turned 18, because I was homeless. Okay. But I never was. But it almost happened in October 2022. But then I had to come heal these lines in order to do it. But that's what... You can change that, though. I'm just telling you, stop blaming anybody else or anything else for it. The reason it ended up there was because of moves you were making. That's what you need to see. And it's why I can't talk to you, until you see it. I can't even talk to you. It's why I can't message you back. I can't message you back until you're in the right frame of mind. Because I'm not going to take it. I'm not the reason it happened. If you want to go back into history, where did everything change? It happened right after quartzite. You remember all that? So whatever decisions were made from there on, and it has nothing to do with me. It was the same power force that made that deer fall out of the sky that we saw whenever we cleared that DNA sequence, you have available to you right now to connect and build out of it. And in a way, that's what's being built for me to connect and build out of this situation, because none of us have a good situation right now. Sometimes being where you're at is better than dealing with what I am, even though you think it's just a place to stay. But again, I had to take over these 2 fucking programs of entire DNA sectors in order to be able to do it. My point is, all of us are coming out of this together, but it's all... Got to remember why it all started and kind of go through it, because it's coming in. The parachutes are coming in. I'm just reminding you of your power. And it was taken away for a minute, but so was mine. So was all of ours. That's why we did it. But that same power that me and you had in the very beginning of how we started this is back online. Or else me and you wouldn't even be able to have this much of a conversation right now. Well, this is a good sign. In your mind, go back to when this all started with the red and white puff jackets. Who are we dealing with? P. Diddy Puff Daddy? Okay. And all my shit got stolen, and I went to Pismo. Soon as my passport got stolen, soon as all Rex's certificate, all that, I had to go back to Pismo. I was back at Sea Gypsy. And then after I got with Natalie and all that stuff, the Ochoas had taken over some of the Sea Gypsy rooms. Camille's family took over some of the clan rooms at the Sea Gypsy, FYI. Ochoa. And then I was back there getting everybody out of vampire fucking bullshit and freaking having to bring in everybody's bodysuits and putting the ocean on my back to fucking get us out. Literally. You and me at the Gypsy together. Create. Okay? Go back there, sitting on those steps outside. I ended up seeing goats surf in that same spot 2 years later. Okay. Bye. I'm getting a headache. That's good, but I'm getting a headache. Bye.